Hello everyone and welcome to this .NET beginner tutorial in which we are going to dive into the .NET framework. .NET is a free open source application platform supported by Microsoft. You can go to .NET.microsoft.com to learn more about the .NET framework by watching the introductory video for beginners. .NET is cross-platform, meaning that you can build application for different platforms like Windows, Linux, or Mac OS, or even mobile applications like iPhone or Android. So we are going to start with the basics of the .NET framework using C Sharp. Then we're going to dive into building modern applications like web APIs or robust web APIs or desktop applications using the WPF form or WPF and Windows form if possible. Then we're going to see if we can build, let's say, application for mobiles like Android and iOS. Before we begin the .NET tutorial, we need to make sure that we have the necessary libraries or tools installed on our machine so that we can start building applications. The first tool you need to install is either Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. Both works perfectly, but Visual Studio Code is lightweight and it's easy to install and set up. If you were to go with Visual Studio, you need to install it from Microsoft website. Just search for Visual Studio installer, then you install Visual Studio, make sure to select .NET Core 9, and that's it. So for us, we're going to use Visual Studio Code to build applications like small application. When we get to building web APIs, we are going to switch to Visual Studio when necessary. So to install the tools necessary for your Windows machine, you just go to Google and then search for .NET install. Then you go to this page, which is install.NET in Windows. After that, you have to go to the bottom and choose which development environment you'd like to use or IDE. So you can install Visual Studio by clicking here, and then here it will ask you to download Visual Studio installer, then install Visual Studio, or you can try to install it in Visual Studio Code and then just click here, and it will show you step by step how to install the .NET SDK in your Windows machine. So it's very basic and very simple. Once you do that, you will be able to follow along with our tutorial. Once you install those tools in your machine, you can open Visual Studio Code and then go to the extension section and start searching for .NET. Then you will have two tools that you need to install, so the .NET install tool and the .NET extension pack. So these are the two tools that we're going to use. So this one will help us to build application using Visual Studio Code, and this one is just the installer. So let's start learning then.